Hey, GW coming to you live once again. Hey, a couple of things real quick. I just want to touch on and talk to you guys about. Um, First of all, there was a subscriber, and I do feel bad for this guy. He watched my VHS 99 review and said that I talked really low. And I want to explain that. If that ever happens to you guys, I do some of those reviews upstairs and I do them about 10 feet away from the bedroom. So obviously, I try to keep my voice down not to wake the wife. But, I felt bad because I put a lot of work into that review, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Basically, to that person who couldn't hear my review, first of all, thank you for the feedback. And if it's happening to you, it might be happening to numerous other people. I just basically said that, I do love the VHS franchise. Uh, and you nailed it. VHS Viral is probably the worst entry in the world. I liked some entries in this VHS 99, and I hope you've seen it. But it wasn't on par with the first two films. It was a little strange. The wraparound story there was almost non-existent. In fact, there wasn't any wraparound story. Basically, it was mock commercials and a guy playing with army men and stop motion, stop motion, like going back to the old Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts thing. But it lacked a wraparound story. I was very disappointed. However, that doesn't mean that the entries in this film are lackluster. They are far from. But the first one was very short. It was about a dead punk rock band that burned in a fire in a nightclub when they were performing. And it seemed pretty rushed. It had the punk rock attitude of a very good, story, but there was no development, no nothing. It was just bam, like three acts: introduce, get the location, kill. That's all there was. The second story is the one that I kind of thought was really good. Was about a sorority initiation gone completely wrong, and that story was very entertaining. If it would have went on a bit longer, it would probably have been great. The third story can, uh, the CGI, I'm telling you, was nothing to rave about, and I know why. You know, it was Shudder's first attempt at a, in association with Bloody Disgusting, and I think that they could build on this entry, take it further. But the third story was kind of cool, but it was very predictable. It was about two guys or kids living in a suburban neighborhood who have a hot girl next door, and well, you guessed it, the girl's not what she seems. And at the end of the film, basically, they find out her true nature. Um, Very sophomoric, but very done. Very, I don't know. That wasn't the last story, by the way. It was the third story. There was four of them. That's right. Um, it was done without having the proper special effects, and I think the script should have been fleshed out pretty good. Now, the last story is a very trippy one, and it's almost considered the best of the anthology. Concerns a trip into hell and possession, and it's very strange, and it's hard to figure out what the hell is actually going on in the story. But it uh, it was the most, I would say, the most strongest of the movie. The stories in the movie. I, I didn't I didn't say I hated the film. I just said basically that it wasn't on par with the first two, and even VHS. Um, oh, I can't remember VHS 99 or VHS 94 rather. VHS 94 I liked because of the wraparound story. I mean, it left you with so many things you can do with these videotapes. But hopefully, you get the info you wanted. And I am really, really, really sorry that did not come across, and I talked a little low. So I just wanted to say, hey, I'm sorry. Thank you for the advice. And, anybody that criticizes my work or gives me a suggestion, okay, I'll take it, because I know you guys listen to me. And sometimes, I have you guys come up to me and say, hey, Greg, thank you for the review, although I would have done this better and this better. And I appreciate that. I really do. I don't take anything seriously. I always try to work with the people. In fact, even my work ethic at work, you know, I try to be nice, friendly. I try to do things very cool, and I don't get upset when somebody has a suggestion. So I just want to say thank you. I will try to talk louder in the future, but like I said, sometimes I get done watching a film early in the morning. In that case, it was around 3 to 3:30 in the morning, and I didn't want to wake the wife, but I knew I had to tell you guys about it. So that's why I talked too low. So again, sorry. I hope that clears it up for you. And now we'll move on to the next thing. A couple of days ago, I was on my YouTube feed, and there was a TikTok video posted. And I want to talk about this because I have really, really strong feelings about this one, guys. You can go to Walt Disney and you guys can go to, do the whole Star Wars experience where they give you a lightsaber and everything. You pay like, I don't know, an extraordinary amount of money. And you guys go see, do that. And they, like I said a minute ago, they let you build your own lightsaber. So this one guest, it was a male, his wife was filming him. They were just doing the lightsaber deal. They got it built. He's in the circle with everybody else who has lightsabers, guys. And for whatever reason, Disney security at the park, at that particular avenue, takes it away. And the look on the gentleman's face was priceless. It's like his dreams had just been shattered. Everything he ever wanted as a kid was now gone, right? So my wife says, why are you so upset about this? And I said, I'll tell you why. First of all, you're paying, like I said, an exorbitant amount of money to stay there. And the second thing is, if I'm paying Disney $9 billion, right? And they tell me, okay, you buy this trip, you can build yourself a lightsaber, Greg. Okay, fine. I expect to build whatever I want, however I want. Now, I understand, okay, if I build it and start hitting people, they're going to take it away, correct? But he wasn't doing that. No. He was just sitting there, having some fun, not hurting anybody, and security took it away. And I think that's bullshit, because Disney, to me, is becoming more and more strict and greedy, and they're jacking their prices up. And with that particular case, guys, they are actually, the kid paid all the money for it, and he wanted that lightsaber. Then he did a follow-up TikTok video where they said they took the switch away from it, right? So I'm going, okay, if you can build your own lightsaber, obviously you can use your own parts, correct? The parts they give you, you can mix and match, is what I'm saying. But apparently to Disney, that's not so. So Disney is full of lies, I guess. And I'll tell you what, they ain't getting my money, and I ain't getting my parents' money, I'll tell you that much right now. Because we are never going back to Disney. I haven't been to Disney since I was a kid, okay? And when I was a kid, it was way different, okay? They weren't greedy corporate, wolves, for lack of a better term. And, to see them do stuff like this, it's just asinine on Disney's part, because, they should let you do whatever you want. They should go and, the kid paid all this money. He should be able to make his own lightsaber with his own switch that turns it on, whatever color he wanted it. But that's not the case. So I guess you can build everything there, but it's just what they what they allow you to build. So I just got a little bit of an attitude about that. And I mean, I felt bad. I do like Star Wars. Yes, I would like to go there and do all that. But the simple fact of it all is if I'm going to be, controlled by Disney security as to what I can and cannot build, then that defeats the whole purpose of my inner child coming out and enjoying Star Wars. Some of you may disagree with that. But that's just my take on it. I just wanted to fill you in. I thought that was ridiculous. Just like the whole Harry Potter thing I mentioned ages ago, So I did that. I read about that. You guys can check it out. It's on TikTok or you can watch it on the news. Whatever. So what else has been going on? Thanksgiving was okay. We had 13 people instead of the usual 50. And it didn't really seem like a holiday, guys. I don't know. We sat around here. We watched the parade, which I'll rant about the parade later. We ate turkey, came home, turned on Buffy the Vampire Slayer around 7. We ate around 5. Talked to my man Chris. We were chopping it up about Star Wars and the show Andor and all that stuff. And Chris does no longer have his YouTube channel, guys. He was the guy that I directed to you guys years ago about painting. He does not have it no more, which I guess you guys figured that out, but he just mentioned it. And good luck, Chris, on your rotator cuff, man. Got my back. I got your back on this one. And it was just nice to see family. But, not everybody in the family is as cool as they once were, Kids grow up and have attitudes. People don't talk to other people in the family. And you get that usual, drama. I don't got a problem with nobody in the family. But people got a problem with my wife. And I think that's where I get involved here. There's a certain person in our family that thinks she can run everything, do everything, say whatever she wants, act however she wants, and that's fine. But don't ask me to care about you, because I'm not. Moving on. I don't want to spend too much time there and get mad. So I did manage to watch a horror film over the weekend, and it's an older one, guys. It's from the 80s, and it's somewhat of a cult classic, and I'm going to end this rant or review on this. It's called Trick or Treat. Right here. Now, if you notice, you got Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne in the same movie. And what's interesting is that Ozzy does not play anybody evil. He plays a preacher, a televised evangelical preacher, for, get this, guys, about 5 seconds of runtime. Yes, it's true. Gene Simmons plays a DJ called Nuke. And Gene Simmons was offered the lead role of the killer in this film. And he declined it because he said the script sucked. Well, you know what? This little thing is actually an underrated horror gem from the 80s that still commands a lot of attention, a lot of respect, and it's a very hard to find deal. And it's still talked about to this day. So I think the fact is Gene Simmons really wasn't able to pigeon-toe Kiss into this, which this did happen around after Kiss's 70s, run. So what is this movie about, Greg? Well, you guys know Mark Price. He played Skippy on Happy Days. He plays Eddie Weinbauer. And Eddie is your typical heavy metal loving kid, gets beat up by everybody and their mother, who loves and idolizes this heavy metal rock singer named Sammy Kerr. Sammy Kerr dies in a fire. And Eddie gets the last copy from the DJ Nuke of Sammy Kerr's song. Well, when you play Sammy's record backwards, you can actually communicate with Sammy. And that was a thing in the 80s, subliminal backmasking. So here it is. The message not only talks to Eddie, but sends a message of destruction and thenceforth brings forth the spirit of, you guessed it, Sammy Kerr. And this film is interesting because Sammy Kerr, it's almost like a ripoff of a movie that I watched called Shock 'em Dead. The killer, Sammy Kerr, just zaps his victims until they explode. What does he do with the victims? He gets more souls. Can Eddie stop Sammy from creating rock and roll, the rock and roll apocalypse? Well, you're going to have to find out. But ultimately, this film is known for a couple things. Like I said, it has a high cult status. Pretty interesting cast. And also a script that seems to just veer into whatever direction it wants. But it's entertaining. It's a stupid, entertaining movie. And I don't mean stupid like dumb, like you turn it on, you walk away. I mean, if it were remade today, okay, say they did that movie with Vince Neil and Motley Crue, they would have made it edgier and they would have made it more bloody. This film is hardly that bloody at all. One of the only entertaining things is when Sammy comes on the screen, you watch him zap people into electric, and sparks. This is one of those films that came out toward the end of the 80s, or the middle of the 80s rather. And they had a bunch of these kind of movies. They had The Black Roses, Shock 'em Dead. They had Rock and Roll Nightmare, The Edge of Hell. They had Rocktober Blood. They all centered around rock musicians because they wanted to exploit the fact that Satanism and heavy metal monsters and stuff existed, and they put together these types of movies to combine the two. In fact, Black Roses is very famous because it has a young Vincent Pastore in it. Vincent Pastore was on The Sopranos as, Pussy Bumpin' Sarah. You guys can check that out. None of these films, though, were given the budget that they really needed to break mainstream, so they were always these underground type things, you know what I mean? This one is probably the best because, again, it features Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons. And this is actually, like I said, a very stupidly entertaining film. If you're looking for just a fun, no-brain horror film, Trick or Treat. Can't even talk this morning. This movie is very hard to find. In fact, this copy was not that cheap. You can maybe find it on YouTube. But it was just one of those gems. It was an underrated gem from the 80s. And to see Skippy from Family Ties in a role that's a little bit unfamily friendly is pretty cool. Also on that, the kid that played Nick on Family Ties was in a few horror movies. So it seemed like there was a common thing between those two. If they weren't in the main part of the show, they ventured out, did their own thing. And the dude who played Nick was in Dead Time Stories and a movie called My Demon Lover, which I remember as a kid, but I never saw it. Skippy was on this and a couple other movies, horror films, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. I'll remember them later. But yeah, so that's basically what's been going on there. And then the only reason I didn't do a review on Halloween, guys, is because we had 154 kids at our place. We got done. We went in the house and we just crashed. And we didn't even watch anything Halloween related. They were playing Night of the Living Dead. And of course they were playing all the Halloweens backwards. So you really didn't. If you watch one, then you jump backwards in time. Then you jump forwards past the film you just watched. And it was ridiculous. And we didn't really watch anything. So I figured, you know what? Hell with a review. But I am sorry that I haven't been on lately, guys. There's been some other things going on, which I'll address in my next review. As you can tell, my allergies are bad. I'm sounding sort of nasally here. But again, I am sorry that VHS 99 review came out a little crappy. Um, and I'm sorry that, no one could hear me. And I think maybe too, whenever I shoot these, I put my hand on the microphone and sort of, but anyway, guys, I hope you check into that Star Wars thing. Like I said, it was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. And I don't particularly like Disney as a company. I think they've changed and they're more of a moneymaker than an actual resort. See, when I was a kid and you went to Disney World, you paid for an experience and it was a perfect experience. Now all you hear is about, like I said, people not being able to build their lightsabers. You have people that propose there, right? And they get told to leave the grounds. You have rides that have been changed because all of a sudden they're racist. Rides that I grew up on. You have Disney Plus, okay? And for a while, Disney Plus was back and forth. They bought the whole Marvel catalog. Well, guess what? Some of that stuff in the Marvel catalog is not PG friendly. Now they're telling you, they're showing a warning, which I get. But do we really need a warning with Gone with the Wind? Okay, it's 2022. People know that those characters and the way that those people were, okay, are not like the way they are today. I'm sorry to tell you, Disney, but that's in when was that? That was Civil War era, so 18 something maybe. People know that times have changed. I don't need a warning telling me that this film, contains people acting of an outdated nature. I don't need that. I already know that. Most people in America know that, okay? I have a thing with Disney. There are aspects of them I don't like, And if Disney would do one thing positive, you know what I wish they would do? For everybody who's got Disney Plus, get the old AFVs with Bob Saget. Okay? The stuff I remember as a kid. Bring that back. And maybe throw in America's Funniest People with Dave Coulier and Connie Katane. Yeah, I know, I'm going back. That's what I'd like to see Disney do. That would be a start. And not tell me that I can't watch Steamboat Willie because it's racist. That's what I wish Disney would do. But I don't want to go off on a rant. There's plenty of other things to go off on a rant about. And I wanted to say, hey, man, good work on Trent Reznor on leaving Twitter. I never liked Elon Musk. I don't know how many of you guys do, but to me, the guy's weird, and Trent did the right thing. So we're going to see. Anyway, I hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys survived Black Friday. And I really hope you guys have a great Christmas. I'll be back next week with a review. But, like I said, life happens pretty fast. In the words of Ferris Bueller, sometimes you don't get a break. It's GW. Catch you later.